Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can set up Python development environment on your Visual Studio Code editor. So I'm going to go step by step. First of all, I'm going to show you how you can install Python, and then I'm going to show you how you can install Visual Studio Code, and then I'm going to show you how you can set up Python on Visual Studio Code. So if you already have Visual Studio Code or Python, you can skip these installation steps and directly go to the integration step. So for installing Python, you just need to search for Python, and the first link which will appear here will be from python.org. I'm going to click on that link and I will scroll down a little. Here I can see the download section, and the version I want to download here is 3.6.4, which is the latest version. So I'm going to click on that, and we are going to go to on the download page. So inside the download page, I'm going to scroll down a little, and here we can see different file formats for installing Python on our Windows operating system. So what I'm going to choose is this one, which is the executable installer, which is really easy to install. So just choose the version Windows x86 64 executable installer, right? And now once this executable file is downloaded, we are going to just install it like a normal executable file. So now this executable file is downloaded, so I'm going to click on this executable file. Let me just minimize the browser. So now the Python installation wizard has been started, and you can see this is the default location where Python will be installed. And in order to add Python path to your environment variable, you just need to check this option which says add Python 3.62 paths. Now I would like to install Python in a different path, because this is a little bit confusing path for me. So this will be installed in my app data local programs Python, and then Python 3.6, right? So I would just want to change the location, so I will just select the customize installation for me, but most of the people prefers default location, and that's okay for them also. Okay, and here I will just leave everything as default and click next here. And this is what I wanted to change. So I just wanted to install Python in my C directory, so I will just remove everything from here, and then I wanted to install this Python in my C directory, and then Python I want to make this directory Python. So I want to make this directory Python, and inside this directory I want to install the Python, right? So C, and I'm going to just create a new directory here, or new folder here with the name Python, and then I will press enter. So this directory is created, and then inside my Python directory, this directory will be created, right? So I will just click install after stating my installation path, and then just say yes. It is going to start the installation for Python 3.6, right? So now I can see this message which says setup was successful. That means Python is installed successfully on my system. So I'm going to just click close, and I'm going to go to my start menu, and here I will just click on all apps, and in all apps I can see this Python idle IDE is installed, and then Python 3.6 module docs are installed, and then Python 3.6 manual is installed, and you can see Python 3.6 command line is also installed, right? So what I will do is I will just click on this option which says Python 3.6 64-bit, and you can see Python terminal is started, right? So I can just write print hello world, and then press enter, which is going to print hello world for me. One thing I want to do is I want to set my environment variable for Python. So I will go inside my Python directory, and inside my Python directory I will go inside my Python 3.6 directory, and then I will just copy this path, and then once again right click on the start menu, and then I will just go to system here, and once the system settings opens, I will just go to advanced system settings, and in the advanced system setting, environment variables, and here I'm going to add this environment variable to path. So I will just select path system variable, and I will say edit, and then I will say new, and then paste this path which I have copied, which is c/python/python36, and then press enter, click OK, OK, and then click OK, which is going to set my Python path in the environment variables, right? Now I want to open the command prompt and just validate if Python is set successfully. So I'm going to just open the command prompt, and here I will just write Python here, and then press enter, and you can see Python 3.6.4 version is installed, and I can see the Python command line here. Okay, so once everything is set, we are ready to install Visual Studio Code. So the second thing, we are going to install Visual Studio Code. So just search for Visual Studio Code, and hopefully the first link which will appear here will be from code.visualstudio.com. So I'm going to click on this link. So you can see you will see this option which says download for Windows, and once you click on this button alongside this download for Windows button, you will see Windows 64-bit option, and I want to install the installer. So just press the button just in front of installer, which is going to download the installer, which is Visual Studio Code installer for you, which is a executable file. So now the Visual Studio Code exe is downloaded on my system. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to minimize the browser, which is going to start the installer. I will first of all say yes, and then this is going to start the Visual Studio Code installer. I will just say next and agree the terms and condition, and then click next, and this will be the default location. I don't want to change it, so click next, and then click next, and then once again click next. If you want to create the desktop icon, you can check on this option, and I'm going to click next, and then click install, which is going to start installing the Visual Studio Code. It's really a straightforward process, so you don't have to worry about it. So now Visual Studio Code is installed on my Windows operating system. So I will just leave this checkbox checked, which is going to launch the Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to click finish, which is going to start Visual Studio Code on my Windows 10 operating system. And now you can see Visual Studio Code has been started on my Windows 10 operating system. And if you are not familiar with Visual Studio Code, here is where you will edit your file. So when you click on this option, you will be able to open any folder of your choice, or you can create a new folder. This is the search option. So if you want to search inside a folder some files or some words, you can search using this search option. This is for Git integration. The third option is for Git integration or source code integration, for example version controlling and other things, right? Fourth option is for debugging, which we are going to use for Python. Then the last option is for installing the extensions, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this extension option, which is the last option. So click on this last option, and here search for Python. Okay, so search for Python. Most probably the first result which will appear here will be a Python option, and you can see around 6 million downloads of this Python extension has been done till now. So this is from Microsoft. So this is the official Python extension from Microsoft. So we are going to install this. So just click on this install option, which is going to install this extension on your Visual Studio Code. And once this extension is installed on your Visual Studio Code editor, you need to reload your Visual Studio Code. So you can see this option which says reload. So just click on that option, and then it's going to reload your Visual Studio Code. So now Visual Studio Code is reloaded, and now this Python extension is installed on our system. So now let's create a Python folder on our desktop, let's say, and then we are going to open this folder. So I'm going to create a Python folder on my desktop, Python, right? And then I'm going to open this folder using this open folder option, and I want to navigate to desktop and then Python and then select folder. So this folder will be opened in my Visual Studio Code editor. Okay, so once this opens, we are going to just create a new Python file. So I'm going to just click on this option which says new file, or you can right click and then say new file here, and then I'm going to just say hello.py, which is the extension for Python, right, which is going to tell Visual Studio Code that it's a Python file. And now I'm going to just say print, and then inside the parentheses I'm going to just write hello world, and then I'm going to save my Python file, and it says linter pylint is not installed. So this is also an extension which you can install from here. So when you search for pylint, you will be able to install a pylint extension, but for now I don't want to install it, so I will see this warning for now, but later I will install it for sure, right? So I will just close this option, and I will save my Python file. And now to run my file, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this debug section. So just click on this debug section, and here you just need to click on this green button. You can notice here that there is no configuration right now, so I will just click on this start debugging button. And now when I click on this option, it will just show me this warning. I will say allow access, and now it says failed to launch the Python process, please validate the path Python. Okay, so I will just open the launch.json file. So just click on this option which says open launch.json, which is going to open the launch.json file. Now if you don't know where this file is located on your folder, you can just go here, click on here, and then go inside your .vs code folder. Okay, so inside your .vs code folder you will be able to see launch.json file. So you can see the name of the configuration is Python, and then stop on entry, this is the debug option, and then this is the Python path, right? So this Python path we can set in the settings .json, right? So you can, when you hover over this, it says defaults to value in settings.json, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to just go to the settings.json, which is the setting file for Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to go to files and then preferences, and then just click on settings. Now this is going to open the settings for you. On the left hand side you have the default setting, and on the right hand side you have the user setting, right? So here search for Python path. Okay, so this Python path is by default, let's see, it's set to Python, and we want to set this Python path to the Python executable location. So I'm going to just copy this line, and inside these curly brackets I'm going to paste this line, and instead of this Python value I'm going to use the default location where Python is installed, which is C /python /36, right? So just copy this path and paste it here, and then you will see little error here. So instead of backslash, you just need to use the / for Windows, and once again the /, and then once again the /, and then just write python.exe. okay, and just save this settings.json file, and then you can just close this settings, user settings, and you can even close this launch.json file. Okay, so once it's closed, once again we will try to run our Python script using the start debugging option, and once you just click on this green button, you will see the debugging has been started, right? So when you just click on this green button, it will print hello world on this debug console, right? And then for example, you can just say x is equal to, for example, 9 plus 6, and then also you can say y is equal to 5 plus 9, let's say, and then save your code. And let's say I just put the breakpoint on the second line, and then I'm going to just start debugging once again. So once debugging has been started, it will start from the first line because in launch.json. So let's go to the launch.json, and you can see the option for stop on entry is true. So when you just click false here, or when you just write false here and save this, and once again when we just start the debugging, it will just start on the second line, right? So I'm going to start debugging once again, and this time it goes on the breakpoint, you can see, right? And here in the variables you will be able to see the value of x because this line has been executed. We can go to the next line, and now the value of y is set, and when we go on the next line it will print hello world here. Okay, so this is how you can set the Python development environment on Visual Studio Code. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and bye for now.